All right, I think we're live. This is my first time going live on YouTube, so we'll see how this goes. I I don't know. I didn't pick a thumbnail for this because I wanted to go live and I had some other things set up just now, so I'm already late to the stream. So there's gonna be a random thumbnail on this video because I've never needed to make a thumbnail before on Twitch, but that could be useful. And one thing that I like about YouTube is that right now, even if I'm talking to nobody yet because they didn't join, you can rewind on YouTube and start the stream from the beginning and watch it at like 2 times speed until you catch up, and that's usually what I do. So that could be useful for people watching a coding stream, and then you go back to parts that were confusing and rewatch it again. So I think that's way better than what I usually do on Twitch. Oh, I just realized this other Twitch is open. Okay. I think my video quality looks all right now. Let's see. Let me just check it out on YouTube real quick. It's my first YouTube stream. Just want to see how things look. Is there like a dashboard? Yeah, let me bring this over here. I think it's a okay. I think I'm good. Yeah. Hmm. It's weird. This is it actually working? I can't really see verification that it's working. What if I go to my own channel? Oh, it says I'm live, and it's actually. Oh, it didn't even use my banner. That's interesting. Okay, we're live. Oh, it says I'm live. Cool. Very cool. All right. I think it's working good. I wanted to get it in the other view though, where I could see like moderating settings, but it doesn't look like it's working. Yeah, don't know how to do that, but that's okay. Yes, right now I'll show you guys what I see. It's just not loading. It's like the wrong thing. Um, all right. Oh, okay, I see manage. So I click down here to manage, and then I click on this stream. Okay, I think that's working. It says excellent connection. Cool. Much better. There we go. That's the view I wanted to see. Now I could see my stream status. Cool. Nice. All right, so let's bring Unity up. And also my to-do list, yeah. That was useful last time. Okay, let's start this off. So basically we started already on Twitch for a little bit because it took a day or two for my YouTube channel to get approved to be live streaming. Apparently it takes 24 hours or something. So I did 2 days already of this project, and we did raycasting for this car controller. So we made a car and we gave it these little laser beams that shoot out of the front that tell it how far away something is. They're basically like sensors that say how far away any walls are, any objects in the game, and it gives that information to the car. And we also made a simple racetrack. It's just these walls right here. So the car could drive down it. Actually, I could just do a little example. I think if I full screen it, it sometimes skips maximize on play if I do it full screen. So let's try this real quick. Okay. Is that laggy? It's actually decent. Cool. So that's what we have. We have these checkpoints too. So every time you drive through a checkpoint, it gives the AI a little score. And that took some time to figure out because I wanted to track it for multiple cars. So even though right now I'm only driving one car through the checkpoint and the other one got stuck because they're both controlled by the same keyboard right now, I wanted the scores to be independent. So that way when we have like 100 cars learning at once, it doesn't change anything. All right. Let's see. I had some music on before. I don't know what happened to it. Spotify's being weird because I put it in offline mode, and I think they fixed something. Yeah, Spotify's just being weird. All right, I closed it. Um, yeah. So what was I talking about a second ago before I started playing it? But basically, yeah, you can see down here. This is the score that the cars were getting as I was driving through the checkpoints, and those checkpoints are there to tell the AI if it did good, because we know what it looks like to go through a racetrack, but the AI has no idea, so it has to be rewarded every 10 feet or so to say you did good, keep doing that. And right now I just have this straight corridor because I wanted to keep things very simple in the beginning. And right now there is no neural network yet. We're going to try to work on that at some point, either today or tomorrow. Um, yeah. Do my Stream Deck buttons still work on the YouTube stream? No? Oh, okay. Yeah, they do. Oops. Just want to test things out. So we do need to some sort of reproduction where the cars that do the best replicate. And I do remember that being somewhat difficult on the other natural selection simulator that I made, which we should open that as well because that is going to have some very useful um, elements to take. Is that what this is? Yeah, here it is. Okay. Evolution simulator. Yeah. Oh, I want to record this. Good thing I didn't really do much because I always forget to record this. I like to record my um, I like to record my screen so I can make a video out of this later, out of any of the snippets if anything cool happens or something. Okay. So this is my old natural selection simulator, and this is a drone that's flying around in it. We don't actually want this right now. Let's not maximize on play. That drone is actually something we're going to use in the future to teach the drone how to fly. So I just slapped it in here to practice. You can see it falling right there. But these guys are basically learning with a neural network. I made a video about it, and they just take a little while to learn things. And once they do, they learn how to find these foods all over the map, and best ones reproduce. And that's what we're going to try to replicate today is the reproduction part of this. And I don't remember how I did it, if I'm being honest. Um, so there's obviously going to be some scripts. This is not What up? So where is this scene? What is it called? Scenes? No. Assets. Okay. Just in the base assets folder that it is. Um, they are learning a strategy. Not sure if it's the best strategy. They go to the corner strategy. They always start with that. Um, so I don't know where I reproduce things. Was it in the movement script itself? I think so. Let's check this out real quick. I just want to find where the reproduction's happening so we can try to replicate it. So this is the neural network that these things are using. The creatures right here. It's the input layer. Did I change it to only okay, so it's the input layer, the input nodes, which is two. Okay, so it's a 2 by 4 by 4, which is a picture that I showed in the video. So right now, we could let these guys train for a little bit so I could show you guys what it looks like after they learn. Because right now you can see that they're not doing very well. They're all moving one direction, and there's a ton of uneaten food over here. So they're not learning the best strategy yet. But I'm looking for the reproduction that I added. And I don't, it might be in here, it might not. So reproduction energy remaining. All of these were needed to get the information of the child. Okay. Child equals instantiate new game object. Replicate. Okay, so this is the reproduction. This for loop right here. This is exactly what I wanted. And I remembered it was complicated because we're not only trying to replicate, we are also trying to replicate and give it copy and paste the neural network from the parent to the child while also adjusting all the values a little bit. So that way, basically, the child is a copy of the parent with some small changes that might make it better or might make it worse. And if it's better, it will survive longer and reproduce more. So that's what we want to do now. And I did a random range. Oh, to choose where it goes on the map in a random location. We're not going to want that. We're probably going to want all of the cars to start in the same exact spot. So we're going to tweak this a little bit, but this is exactly what I need. I can't just copy and paste this because we don't have a neural network set up yet. So all of these weights and biases and outputs are not going to work yet. But I can kind of copy this child object. And we're going to need some sort of reproduction energy. So the way that I was thinking of doing it is keeping track of the race cars. We'll keep this one going. We could keep this going in the background. It shouldn't be too resource intensive. When we have these race cars go around the track, I'm going to start a timer, possibly for like a minute, and whoever gets the furthest on the track in that minute reproduces. So let's try to figure out what that needs. So this is what I said yesterday. The best cars that got the furthest times in the set amount of time will reproduce. And with some randomness. So you don't always want the best car to reproduce only. You also want some of the worst cars to reproduce because they might have a better strategy than the best car. You don't want to get yourself stuck in a corner, basically, with one strategy that might not be the best in the long run. So you want to allow other strategies to evolve. Hey, Ross Gaming with the E. So, what we're gonna do. What are we gonna do? Is the question, isn't it? So the thing that I did last time first was I created the natural selection simulator before I created any neural networks, and that is what we need. We need natural selection. That's what I'm missing. Natural selection sim. Okay. So we're gonna have to just do this quickly. I've done it before, so it's not as hard as it was the first time. He says before trying. I hope it's not going to be as hard as the first time, because it did take me a little while to figure everything out, but now that it's here and you can see it's working, we could take a lot of components from this without needing to look it up again, which is going to be very, very helpful. So we have the brain. What's the brain? Did I actually use this brain? I don't think I did. This does nothing. This is not used. Okay. So brain is not right. Neural network is the neural network. Oh, this isn't even our neural network. Okay. This is an example that I like used to support what I was working on, I believe. I don't think I'm using this one either. So really, everything's in this movement script. That's how I did it, which I guess makes some sense. Hi, Maggie. How's it going? How's the stream looking? Okay. And these are the outputs of the neural network. All right, so I'm looking at my old neural network right now to try to figure out what components we could take from it. And I'm trying to this is where we replicated in the past. So if the creature had enough energy to reproduce, which is what this means, if it was greater than 1, the reproduction energy, it would reproduce and create a new game object called child. So it would create a child, and this instantiate just basically means it creates it and puts it on a certain part of the map, and we randomized it so it just go in a random spot on the map. And then all of these things were a little tedious to type out, and it would be better to just automate this process. But it basically just copies the neural network over to the child and then changes everything a little bit. Hello, Jonathan. Hello, Broccoli. Welcome. All right. So these guys have been learning for a little bit. Let's see how they're doing. Yeah, they're eating food. We're just gonna let these guys go the whole time, see how good they get. Last time I cut them off, but sometimes it's fun to watch how fast they can get. Like this guy's still not. He's doing something wrong. He got his food yanked by the other guy. What have you been up to, my man? Not much. Just working all day and now streaming. Trying to figure this stuff out. But right now we're working on the replication part of things, which I have figured out for that simulation, but not the new one. So I realized that with the other one, I created a natural selection simulator first, which basically means like even without the neural network, these guys were able to move around and learn things and evolve, I guess, without a brain at all. Because I showed them how to move, and then I randomly changed some traits while they were reproducing, like speed. So they would slowly get faster and faster, and the faster ones would reproduce even more, if that's not too complicated. So now what we're doing is instead of changing traits or anything, we're just going to have to try to copy that natural selection simulator without testing it, which is going to be a little harder. They look so cute, yeah. not look at a dead one. Yep, yoink this asset off the asset store too. But they do look cool. It kind of fits the vibe of everything, being like pixelated-ish and boxy. I do like these trees. I didn't use them. I just placed them here to see what they looked like because I found them on an asset on the asset store. I think my drone is somewhere on this map. Yeah, there he is. Is that a drone? You can't see it. No, I guess that's not a drone. Um, all right. What to do? What to do? Everything is kind of all over the place right now. I don't want to pause these guys. I forgot. I almost paused them. So we really just want to figure out some sort of reproduction. Okay. So we're in here. We have our cars. I'm going to practice. Let's just reproduce. Let's create a car within the car. So inside our car script, it doesn't do anything yet, but I think that this is the place where it's going to reproduce, kind of like we did with the um, movement script here. So this is from the other, the natural selection simulator with those creatures, and we could kind of copy this reproduction thing where it says game object child equals create this dot game object. So it's copying the current game object, so the car it's copying. So let's see if that works. I'm just going to put this in at start. So when we start the simulator, it should spawn a car, and I'm going to put this at 0, 0 location. And let's run this and see what happens. Is it going to give me errors? Probably. No errors, okay. Okay. Something is laggy. Oh, jeez. Oh, you made the track. Nice. Yeah, a little bit. I just made a small track. Let's do that again and pause it so we can see what happens. So it looks like I hear them spawning into existence. Let's see what's happening here. Oh God. Oh, yep. So it is replicating. That is not a lie. Oh, I wanted to play it while we're looking at this. Okay. So I thought I had it in the start called before the first frame. So I thought that this. Oh, I know what's happening. So this function only happens once, and that's why I put it in here because I only wanted to spawn one child. But it spawns once for every car on the map. So when you make a new car, that car also reproduces. So every single car on the map is reproducing at the same time, and then every child that they make reproduces too. So that is why we're seeing so many cars being created. So we're gonna figure something out where somehow we're gonna have to say which car is the first car. Um, what? How about if the score increases of the car? So that way, only the car that I'm driving will reproduce, and the other one won't. I think. We'll see. If score is greater than 0, so if we just go through the first checkpoint, or let's make it greater than 1. So we have to go through 2 checkpoints. That means. Then we're going to reproduce. So let's see if this works, because it's going to be a little similar to what we're doing. Because we want to give the car a reward first before it reproduces. But we want to check this all the time. So unlike before... okay, I see an issue with this already. Because if we don't decrease the score after we reproduce, it's going to reproduce forever as well. So let's just temporarily say score uh, minus score equals score minus 1. Could do score minus minus, but it's easier to read for you guys. So we're decreasing the score by 1 after it reproduces, so this isn't true anymore, basically. Let's try this and see if that fixes our problem. So get rid of all these other cars. Let's see if they spawn in bajillion times. Okay, no, we're looking good. I'm gonna zoom out a little so we could see where's that other stuff. Okay. Okay, so here we are. Let's drive these two cars. 1 checkpoint, 2 checkpoint, 3 checkpoint. Didn't happen. Did they not spawn another car? Okay, I know what happened. Almost there. I put this in the start thing still. And this start script only happens as soon as the car spawns, so it's not even happening anymore ever again. So when we increase the score, this function already happened, so we actually have to check to see if the score increases every time, which is what this function does. It says it right here. Update is called once per frame, so every single frame this is called. So it checks the score every frame that you're playing. So if there's 30 frames per second, this thing is going 30 times per second. It checks the score that quickly. All right, let's try this again. Zoom out again so we can see when the new guy spawns in. All right. Don't need that so much. One, two. Okay. Car fountain. It's gonna break my computer, so let's pause that. Still happening. Let's click away just so I could get a clip for a video, because that's pretty funny. I would like to get rid of this. And let's just see what happens again. Yep. That is working as intended. It's a pretty cool, like, water fountain, though. Like, if that was water. It's pretty realistic. But that it's not water, it's cars. They should not be behaving that way. So what is going on? I thought I fixed it. Um... Yeah, that's totally what you're going for. Yeah. I don't know what happened. I thought I had it because I'm checking to see if the score is greater than 1. So something is happening. I'm thinking that this score is getting passed down to the child, but I don't want it to. I want it to be a new car. So maybe this.game object is wrong. Kind of. Yeah. I think that's it. I think this is what is wrong. So we don't want to spawn this.game object. We want to spawn a new car. How do I do that? Think public game object car. So if I do that and then I say spawn car, that could work. And if you go out, since I made it public, that means it shows up over here. So if I go to my main car and I find that car script, it has this car game object now that didn't exist before. I'm going to get in trouble calling every single thing car, so I should probably not do that. because I called the script car, I called the car, and I'm calling these cars. So you want to have different names for things. So maybe this is going to be, when you have a template of something, it's called a prefab. So maybe I should call it the car prefab, and I'll know what that means. So car prefab. And we're going to call that car prefab. All right, so now if we click here, car prefab exists, and we're going to give that car prefab, we're going to go to assets. I usually have a prefabs folder. Create folder. I'm going to say prefabs. Okay. And what you can do is you actually drag this card down. And would you like to create a new original prefab or a variant of this prefab? I don't know what that's asking. I'm going to say new original. And let's see if it has everything we need. Okay. Yeah. Oh. Okay, yeah. So now in this prefab, we're going to want the car prefab to be a car prefab, and same thing in the other. So in this car prefab, we want this car 02 prefab to be there. Let's try this. Let's see if this is what we're going for. Let's go back to our little view. I'm gonna unmaximize. Are these cars, can you hear them, or are they too loud or something? It's hard for me to hear. I want to hear what the stream hears. I wonder if there's a way to do that. Okay, 1, 2. Yeah, still a car water fountain. That is totally not what I want. It's still happening. So what if we, oh, okay, let's subtract the score before we create a new car. I think what's happening is the child is getting the parent's score. So if we decrease the score before we reproduce, that should fix the problem. It's a temporary band-aid fix, but it's a fix. Let's see if we got it now. Nice. All right, that's good. They're on top of each other, but that's because we were driving 2 cars to start. So if we go through some more checkpoints with one of them, another one spawns. Nice. Every time we go through a checkpoint, another car is going to spawn. We could see these checkpoints a little better here. So that works. Cool. So they start here. I'd like them to start at the start of the racetrack, because that's what's going to end up happening. And one thing we could do is somehow make the cars drive through each other. Because when we start, they're all going to start at the same exact spot. And we don't want them to, like, turn into a car water fountain, for example. The reason all those cars are turning into a water fountain is because they're all colliding with each other. But we want to make it so that when the cars collide with each other, they don't actually collide. And I've never done that before. I've never turned off collisions between 2 objects. I've turned off collisions on an entire object, but when the collision's off for that object, nothing collides with it. But I want the cars to collide with everything else, just not other cars. So it's a little different, because we want to somehow figure out how to turn off collision between 2 of the same object. That's a Google question. I don't know how to do it. How to turn off collisions between, yeah, I guess just cars in Unity. Um, Ignore collisions with some objects in certain contexts. That's what we want. We don't want to turn off the collisions all the time, but we want to do it sometimes. Hmm. Okay, that answer's wrong. These answers seem right. Whatever this ignore collision thing is, let's take a look at that. Any collider, any collider you want to have collider one to stop ignoring collisions with. Okay, yeah. So we give it two. How do I get it to ignore all prefabs? That's a little trickier. Um, so what was it called? It was ignore collision. Unity, ignore collision by tag. That's exactly what I was going to type in. Let's see if this is a thing. Oh, I see solved. I like solutions that are solved. Okay, so this. Okay, so a layer is what we're doing. Layer-based collision. What does that mean? Okay. What are you looking up now? Well, I'm trying to figure out how to get the cars to go pass through each other instead of crash into each other. So apparently there's some sort of ignore collision function that I just looked up here. And I was trying to look up by tag, which means so the ignore collision thing works, but you need to give it two objects to ignore. So I'd have to give it this car and then this car and say, don't make these two collide with each other. And that would work for these two cars. But when you have like 100 cars, you'd have to do that for every single pair and every combination of pairs. But I'm wondering if there's a way to just say, ignore collisions on all cars. And I don't have to say it for every single car, basically. So tags let you do that because I could give this car a tag of car, and I already made that tag. So, and I could give the prefab. I think I could give the prefab a tag of car as well. So now any new car that's created will be a car, and it will be known as a car in here. So we can do that here too. So we'll say car. Yeah, we did it. Oh, did it already automatically update? I guess so. Are these connected? Actually didn't want them to be connected. So if I untag this, that gets untagged too. Oh, that's interesting. That's not what I was expecting. But okay. That kind of works. This one doesn't. This one's not connected. Still untagged. But now what I want to do is say untag all, like ignore collisions by tag. So let's see if this answer has that. You could use layer collision matrix from physics without scripting. Without scripting, really. So you go to set, edit, project settings, physics. Edit, project settings, physics. Okay. So we don't have a car in here. We have to give it a layer. Okay, add layer. Yeah, let's just say car. Can I do that? Is there like a way to save this? And then I go back to my car. And can I select car as a layer? Yes, change children too. Okay. So this layer is going to be car. Yes, change children, I think. I don't know what the change children thing is, but now if we click, see here, there's this car thing. So I think if I uncheck car with car, does that just work? So this other car doesn't have that set. So we're gonna have to crash into one of the cars that we spawn to test this, because I want to leave the other one just to show that it's not the same. So this car we should still be able to crash into when we turn. Not sure if I'm gonna be able to. So but these new cars should not crash into each other. So let's see, can I crash into my own car here? Oh, he's too far away from me. It's not impossible. I can make him crash into another car though. So, oh, I think I hit him. The controls are too hard. So let's see this. Nice. I'm pretty sure we just passed through that guy. Yep, so these guys are passing through each other. And let's see. Can we test it out with the other guy? Yep, we're still colliding with him. Cool. So that's exactly what I wanted. So now all the cars with the car tag and the car layer will just pass through each other. Like this, see? It's a little hard to test this since they're all being controlled but with the same controls. So when I go forward, they all go forward at once. But we're going to change that too. So we just did that. That's cool. So now the cars pass through each other, they spawn. What else can we do here? The stream looks a little laggy when I move this around. Is that, yeah, it is, isn't it? I'm dragging this around and it's skipping a ton. Is the replay doing that too? Let me take a look. Yeah, it is. It's skipping around. It says my condition is good. So I don't know why it does that sometimes. I really don't. What could be interfering with that? Is that something I've opened? I have a ton of things open right now. Oh well. I'll just try not to move so much big stuff around. Did it look like that when I was driving? It must have. Oh no, because not that many things are moving, but if I full screen this more, I bet it will. Yeah, it gets a little jittery there. But it's super smooth on my end. I don't know why that's not passing through properly. Darn. Yeah, it's very laggy. Okay. At least for the coding parts, it's not that important, but it doesn't even say I'm dropping any frames, which is bad. I wonder if it's my display capture? I changed it to something else just now. Let's see if this changes anything. Whoops. Trying to... That looks a little better. Still not smooth, but smoother. Let me try driving around. So far it looks a little better. It's still skipping a tiny bit, isn't it? Before, when I kept doing circles, it got worse and worse. Let's see. I think this is a little better, though. Something I just changed might have fixed it. A decent amount, at least. No, it's getting laggy. It gets worse and worse the longer it goes. I actually don't know what's causing that. I really don't. What would be doing that? 'Cause it's on my end, too. I see it on OBS. It's not even the stream's fault. Let me try changing one more setting. I can't change too many settings while I'm live, so I'm only changing the ones that I can. Yeah, it goes back and forth from being laggy and not laggy. Yeah, I don't know why, but it's usually when things are moving fast. Like if I move the whole screen, it gets laggy. So let me try to change the display capture one more time to this other one. I don't know what this is. This is what it normally is, I think. And this one I think is worse. Maybe not. So it starts off decent. It looks alright right now. But the longer you go through this little loop, the worse it gets. And the dizzier you get. So I'll stop doing that. I guess when I'm driving around it's fine. As long as I'm not doing donuts. Because if you do donuts it changes the scene a lot, which messes it up. So that's not horrible. I'll keep it as is for now. But when we're going down this hallway it gets laggy, that's why. Alright. I'm gonna try to figure that out later. What else do we have to do now? So we have them not colliding with each other. That was kind of a random task that I realized we needed. Um, okay, decide what warrants reproducing. Spawn cars at start of race. We're gonna have to do that. So just change the position. That's gonna be easy. We actually have the reproduction down. We really do. So I think we could just do it the way it's doing it right now. And we don't actually have to reproduce live like we did with the other simulator. We could have rounds where the first round we let the cars all go, and then after that um, we see which ones did the best, and then we reproduce all the cars that did the best. So it's gonna be like rounds of reproduction instead of reproducing as we go like we're doing right now. So as I'm driving through the checkpoints, they're reproducing. I think a better way to do it is to drive through all the checkpoints first, see which one's the fastest, then reproduce. It's going to be a different type of reproduction, and that also means we're going to have to keep track of which cars have the best score at the end of a certain time. So, tally up scores after a set time period. And that time period could change. Because in the beginning, you want to keep it short so they learn quickly. But then as they get better, you could extend it to let them drive further throughout the map. I would also like the cars to die if they hit a wall. So let's do those things right now. These main things. So we're going to start at the spawn of the race. Let's do that first. And then we'll bring back up that to-do list after. So where is the start of the race? It's right here. What position is this car at? 25, -5. Okay. And this one is at 20, -10. So it looks like 22 would be the dead center. That's where I kind of want them to start. So let's do 22, -0.5, -10. Try to remember those numbers and go find this 22, -0.5, -10. 22, -0.5, -10. Okay. So I think that should spawn them on the track now. Let's see if that works. Just gonna drive these guys forward over here and look right here in a minute. Yep, cool. Oh, so I see something that's happening. Even though we're telling the cars to ignore each other, the beams aren't ignoring the cars. Oops, didn't mean to drive them off the map. So these beams right now are getting triggered by other cars. We don't really want that. So in our raycast script, we could say that raycasts ignore cars with a certain tag, I think. Or we can make it a different color. Let's do that. Let's make it red if it's detecting another car. Just to test it out. We're not actually going to do this in the real thing because the cars don't actually see each other in the real simulation. They're all going to be like driving on their own racetrack, but at the same time. It's going to be one car on each racetrack, but they're all stacked on top of each other basically. So they're all driving at the same time, but they all don't interact with anything except for the map. But just for testing, I want to see if we could figure out how to make a raycast detect the object that it is pointing at. So we have this raycast script, and we draw the ray, and the color white is the default. So when it's detecting something, it's yellow. So that's right here. If raycast. So I guess if it's hitting something, then we draw a ray. So we want to say if hit dot something. Because the hit is what you hit. I have to figure out what that has available to us. Not racetrack, I want raycast. Unity raycast. I just want to see the documentation. And it explained before hit info. Raycast hit. Yeah, we want to see what this is. Collider is what was hit. So I think we want that. We want to see what we collided with. So hit.collider. I don't want to say if yet. I just want to print it out, I think. So debug. Capital D, forgot. So it's going to print out a ton when we're detecting something. And it's going to be hit.collider. I'm not sure what this is going to print, but we will see. So if we run this now, it should debug some information about what it detects. Okay, cube 2. So it's saying one of them's detecting the checkpoint. That's the one pointing forward. For both of these cars, it's detecting this checkpoint. Some of them are detecting the cube. Okay. And what happens if we get to the point where they start detecting other cars? Oh, maybe they don't. Okay. I want them to detect each other. Hold on. So I think if we just start from scratch, one of these beams is going to be pointing at each other. Oh, but it's too tall. Oh, okay, so maybe we don't actually have the problem I thought we had. We don't, because I made the beams too tall. So this wouldn't even work anyways, what I'm proposing. Because the beams, although it doesn't look like it, they're just slightly taller than the cars themselves, which doesn't help with our testing purposes, because I wanted to see that. So you know what we could do? Let's pause this. If I pause it, can you still move things around? Oh, that's not what I want to move around. I want to move around the car. Let's move around the whole car. Can I move things and still have it trigger like an event? Oh, that is not the whole car. I wanted the whole car. Alright, somehow I'm moving it that way. Okay. So I want to put this car in front of the laser beam. And I think there might be a way to just turn physics off so it's always in front of the laser beam. Forget that I can't keep clicking on that. Let's lower it. Okay. So if, let's see what it says it hits now. If we turn off physics. Freeze position, XYZ. Okay, so now it should be frozen in space if we unpause. Yes. And this car is detecting it. It says, what does it say? Okay, so it's actually saying what part of the car it hits. I think that it has a tag though. So the same way that we did the tag earlier, we could do the tag again, I'm pretty sure. But I need to figure out how to get the tag of an object. How to get the tag of a game object. Unity. Is that it? Just tag? Okay, so let's print out the tag. Hit collider dot tag. So now it should print out if it's a car or not. I might just be able to unpause it to do that. Untagged. Is that true? Is this thing untagged? No, it has a tag of a car. But these other things are untagged. Oh. The layer is car, though. How do I make all children of something have the same tag? Okay, so if you select all the children, give it a tag of car. Now... Okay, now let's back this guy up a little bit so his beam hits it, and it's saying it's hitting a car, I think. It still says untagged sometimes. Why is that? No, it says car every time. But I don't know why it also has these two untags. Confused. But I think that should work. So if we pause this again. Now we say... Now let's look at that thing real quick. So yeah, you put it in quotes. So if we want the tag to be a car, we put it in quotes. So we're going to do that same thing here. If hit collider dot tag equals car. So if the laser beam is pointing at a car, then we're going to make it yellow, a different color than yellow. We're going to make it red. So we're going to say draw the ray. Same ray we're going to make. But now instead of the color being yellow, the color is going to be red. Cool. And then else, so if it's not hitting a car, we want it to just do everything else that it always did. And return hit distance, yeah. And otherwise, we want it to return the ray length. To basically ignore... What's ray length? Ray length is 20. So yeah, we want to return ray length if we hit a car. Whoops, I copied. That's something that's gonna help me later that I don't really have to explain now. But that should work now. So we could get rid of this stuff where it draws, because we copied and pasted it. Now it's in here. So now if it's gonna be hitting the car, it's gonna turn red. So let's see this. Close up. So this laser beam is pointing at part of the car. Click away. Click in nothing. Okay. And then if we unpause, that is not red. The thing is not red at all. Why does it say untagged still? And car at the same time? Okay. Did I save that? I did. So it's still debugging these things. Even when it's a car. Let's say debug.log. You hit a car. Just so I can see if this is ever happening, because it doesn't look like it is yet. It isn't happening. I was pretty sure that would happen. Okay. We're super close, though. Oh, it's a capital C? Did I make it a capital C? The tag? I did not. I didn't. I did. Okay. That's our problem. It's just a capital C. Alright. Simple mistake. Anybody could do it. And it's still not red. Not a simple mistake, I guess. Hmm. Oh, maybe it is. No. What is going on here? This should work. It was telling me what it hit earlier. And for some reason, it's telling me multiple things that it hit. But it isn't. I don't even have to do this right now. I just thought it would be easy. And I will need to do it at some point. Because we don't want them to detect each other. And this should work. Hit collider.tag. Let's take a look at that example again. Yeah, if tag equals something, something happens. Maybe I just need to refresh things. Let's refresh things and see. So all of these things are not going to have the same tag anymore. So let's select children and tag it as a car. Okay. Run. Oh, compiler errors. Oh, so there's an error. Okay, so it wasn't updating my script. I think I have to put a space, save, and then click over here for it to show. Expected a semicolon on line 38. Is that really all that I did wrong? Oh, I haven't been using... Yeah. No way. So that's what was wrong? The thing that was printing out? Ugh. That hurts. And I would have noticed it too if these printouts weren't hidden. But there's so many that are happening because of the camera that I didn't create myself. So I'm gonna fix that, basically, is what I'm saying. Okay. So, let's back these cars up a little bit again and try that again. Let's stop them here. Alright. Pause. Let's lift this car up so it's in the beam and freeze its location so it stays there. Alright. Now we unpause. And there's a red beam. So it was right the whole time, that's why I was going crazy. But it just it just wasn't working because of that one semicolon. That's programming for you. Cool. So now, instead of making it red, we can just make it do nothing when it sees another car, which is what I was trying to get to. So, and we did that. We did that by saying return 20, because 20 is what's the default. So when we're returning 20 in this function, it says return 20 somewhere. Yeah, return ray length. And ray length is 20. So as you can see, when we don't hit something, that's what we do. Like right where I'm pointing my mouse. If we... Oh, wait a minute. You can't see my mouse anymore. Oh, you can. It's just hard to see. I couldn't see it. It's right here. So return ray length. As you can see, when we don't hit something, this is what happens. Did not hit. And if we hit a car, it also returns ray length. So they're doing the same thing. It's treating the car collision the same as a non-collision, basically. And if we do hit something else that isn't a car, like a wall with the laser beam, then we give it the distance that that object is away from the car. And that will be the input to our network, which we almost have it ready to be worked in, I believe. I had some other to-dos, I think. So spawn cars at the start of the race, that's done. Tally up scores, okay. Didn't do that. I added that little side task where I said ignore cars. Ignore cars in raycast. That's not really a reproduction thing, but I'm too lazy to move it into the right spot. Okay, so tally up scores after a set period of time. We'll do that now. So right now the cars have, each car is getting a score for how many checkpoints it goes through. And we're gonna want to fix that and keep track of it. How's it going? It's going pretty good. I just figured out the laser beam problem that I was having. Where now when it's pointing at another car, it's a little noisy, isn't it? Can I turn off the volume? No, I can't. Did I turn it off before? Is that on? Apparently it's off, but I still hear it. Oh well. So basically now if I move these cars a little bit, it stays yellow. All these beams stay yellow, but if I pause it and pick this car up and put it in the way of the beam, so pretend that the car is being hit by it. It turned out the laser beams were too tall and it's going over the cars. But if I pick this car up and freeze it in place and unpause, now whenever the laser beam hits a car, it turns red. And that was just so I could show the difference between a wall and a car to the car. And we should do the same thing for checkpoints, because see how this one front beam is just disappearing? We don't want the car to think that that's a wall in front of it, because then it will try to avoid the checkpoints, and that's not what we want. So we should basically do the same thing for this checkpoint thing, which is what I'll do right now. That's actually important. The car thing wasn't super important, but ignoring these checkpoints is important, because if we don't do that, the AI will get super confused. So basically, I want to find one of these checkpoints. Brace checkpoint. Do they have any tags? What about these checkpoints? Do they have tags? No. So, all these checkpoint objects don't have any tags. But where is the actual collider, box collider, this thing? Um, so, if we give all these things a tag of their own, we could do the same thing. So we should say every checkpoint so if we click on this and we say children, select children, we give them all a tag of, well, we need to make a new tag. So we're going to add a tag, call it checkpoints. Save. We're going to copy this. Well, I don't have to copy it, but now we're going to go back to our whole thing. We're going to select all of them again, select all children, and we're going to set them all to the checkpoint tag. So now that we have that, we could go back to our code and use that tag. So, um, I see one problem with this. I do. I duly do. If the raycast hits the checkpoint, it will stop no matter what. But we could make it pretend like it didn't. We could set it to 20, like say, oh, the length of the line is still 20, even though you hit the checkpoint. But we're just faking that. So if there's something beyond the checkpoint, like if there's a wall that's turning left, right beyond the checkpoint, the car won't know that because it will think that the line's longer than it actually is because we're just like forcing it to be longer. That's like a weird problem that I just realized. So basically, let me get the situation that I'm thinking about right now. If one of these cars, like this car right here, was right about here, right here. So you can see these little short checkpoints, these little short lines, this little stubby ones. But this diagonal one would stop here no matter what. And then, but what we were gonna do is say if you're hitting a checkpoint, the length of the line is just 20. For this forward one, that would be fine because it's not hitting anything for a while. So if you make this line 20 long and just force it that way, it doesn't matter. But if you make this line 20 long, it's going to go through the wall, and the car is not going to know that wall exists until it gets to the other side. Like basically, it won't see that. It will just see this. But once it gets through, it will. So I wonder if there's a way to just make a raycast ignore an object. Basically, how to make a raycast ignore layer. Oh. I don't know what this answer's doing. It's linking to something else. So this is what I'm saying. I want it to go through an object and then hit the object behind it. The same guy answered, I guess. So he answered with his own answer. Okay, so this is the answer. Um, my layer mask. Here's another link. This is like a nest of answers that this guy is providing. Oh yeah, you said yeah, the checklist is a good idea. I know it does help me keep track of things. Um, and it shows like how much we've done so far because there's even some that we shrunk. Like all these things got done, and I think oh yeah, and some of these today. So it's basically a big progress list that's going to keep track of everything that we do. But right now I'm just a little stuck. I was just reading this to try to figure out what it means. Sorry if I'm not. I wasn't talking for a minute there. I'm just trying to figure out how to do this. It seems so complicated. You're doing so much. Yeah, that's crazy. Thanks. I am getting a decent amount done, but there are some things like this that get me caught up on a problem. No, you're fine. Haha. All right. I saw one programmer that does this thing where he programs for like 30 minutes straight without looking at chat at all, and he has like a timer for it, and then he interacts with chat a little bit because they say that programming and streaming at the same time is very hard. And I kind of get that. Right now is not super hard, but if you lose track often, it's hard to focus deeply on something. So I get why that guy does that. He actually stopped streaming for like a few months. He said he was quitting streaming because he couldn't get enough work done on his game. But then he realized a good middle ground was to just stream and pretend like he streams and hides chat, and then yeah, and he just talks to himself, and he doesn't care what anybody says. He just lets them watch, and that's kind of what I was doing for a second there, on accident. You're fine, haha. Yeah, I get that too. A few people have said that. That guy actually quit for a while because of it, and he said that that was the reason. I do like those kind of streams though. People do like study with me streams. Who is the streamer? It was this guy called Randy. He's really funny. Um, Rain. He might not show up as Randy. Yeah, no. His name's Randall, but he changed his channel name to Randy.
Randy, it's been
This
two
guy.
months. Where have you been, mate? Damn right, I need a hair.
He's pretty funny. But he said somewhere, I bet I could find it. It wasn't too long ago. He quit streaming or something. He has a lot of actually has a lot of videos. It might be hard to find. Oh, wait a minute. This is all of his videos? Oh, he deleted a ton of videos. Why'd he do that? That makes no sense. Maybe he didn't. Maybe it's because it's like I'm not signed in and they're not for children. I bet that's it. They're like age restricted. So maybe it's not showing it on this browser. I don't think he deleted them. But this is the guy. He's funny. Yeah, I really don't know how to do this. I mean, it's right here. The answer is in these few the answers that this guy gave. But it seems pretty complicated because you have to create a layer mask. So in the inspector, click the drop down next to the variable my layer mask. Tick it to select some of the layers which you want the raycast to work. Alright, let's try this. So you say var layer mask, my layer mask. In the code. So in our raycast code, before we do anything, we do that. Why doesn't it like that? Is var not a thing anymore? Oh, there's like a semicolon error. Raycast 8, line 8 has some problems. Why? What did I do wrong? I don't think I did anything wrong. Just copy what the guy did. So what did he do? Oh, this is a JavaScript example. Okay, we're not in JavaScript. Um, does that work? That works. It's just backwards in, I guess, JavaScript. So we have this now. So I guess what he's saying is in the layer mask, you could just check things. Okay, so the camera thing still has that problem. I don't know why. But now if we go to our car raycast layer mask and you select things that you want it to hit. So let me say nothing first. Oh well, we're not actually using that thing. Sorry. So layer mask here. We want a different layer mask. So there's this thing here. I don't actually know what this did, but we're gonna get rid of it. It's probably important. I'm gonna be regretting that later. But right now we have a new layer mask in town. And we're going to unpause this. Okay. So now it doesn't detect anything and the beams are just shooting through stuff. Cool. That is what I expected. Very nice. So now, if we change this, instead of being nothing, but we have to change on the second car, because that's the only one that's driving right now. Instead of being nothing, not here, where'd the thing go? On the raycast, nothing. We're going to change it to everything? I don't want it to be... Okay, so it selects everything, and then let's turn off car first, because we don't have checkpoint. So now instead of turning red when it hits the car, it's going to just go through it. So yeah, that's how it's working right now. Just shooting right through the car. And if you look, I bet we could get this diagonal one to go through the car into the wall. See that? It's detecting the wall instead of the car. This is actually a perfect example of why we need this. So that's basically what the checkpoint would need to do, which is cool. So now we just have to make a checkpoint layer instead. I made a tag, but I guess this works using layers. So let's select all. Well, we're going to select the children. I know I'm going to have to reselect it. So we're going to have to create a new layer. We're going to have to call this checkpoint. The same thing I did with the car, so I should have known this was going to happen. And now we go back to our checkpoint, select all the children, and give them the layer checkpoint instead. Yes, change the children. And now, if we go back to our car, we go back to our car, and we change the mixed to include or not include the checkpoint. So now it won't see the checkpoints, and this is what we want. So if we could get rid of all this stuff, make this a little bigger so we can see what happens. It should just have the beam go right through the checkpoint, and yep, now it's just as if they aren't even there before it was stopping too soon. And if I re-enable this other car, we should still see that happen, I think. Yeah, so the layer mask is set to nothing. Oh, so everything is what it would have been, and it would be unstuck. Swift changes for this car too. Yeah. So this one is doing what we didn't want, but this one is doing what we want. And it's working. Cool. Did I add that to the to-do list? No, I didn't. This is a part of the raycast thing. Let's take this and actually put it in the right spot. And ignore checkpoints. While still shooting through it. That was the challenge. The ignore the cars was easy, but shooting through it still, I figured it out. It actually wasn't as hard as I thought because that took like a few minutes of. I have this problem where I do this all the time. I do it all the time, where I'll see a solution to something and I'll just look at the code and I won't read what he says. Like, so that was part of the answer. I had to just read this sentence, and it said to like check the boxes, and I was, oh, it's actually easier than I thought. It wasn't just purely code. So that makes it easier. But I like my eyes glaze over. Do I need that? My eyes like glaze over when I see a solution to something. I don't know why. But that was useful, so now I know how to do that. And that makes it a lot easier to just disable things that we don't want. Okay, that was good. What else do I need to do now? If the cars hit a wall, they die. That sounds relatively easy. But I have to do collisions. And I need to also say, I need to give walls a wall tag. So let's call these walls instead. Wall 1. Oops. Whoops. Didn't want to go inside of it. Just wanted to click on it. Rename wall 2. So we're going to give both of these walls a new tag. Add to the list. Wall. Okay. Where'd my checkpoint tag go? Disappeared. I'm very confused as to where my checkpoint tag went that I just made before. Oh, no, all my checkpoints didn't work. I do this so many times. So the checkpoint thing that we did earlier did not save because I was in play mode. So we're just gonna have to do that again real quick. The code saved because the code's separate, but the tags that we added here did not. So if I click on one of these, it says untagged still. So we're gonna have to add a tag. I don't really need the checkpoint tag, but I like having it. Checkpoint. And while we're here, let's also add a layer. Checkpoint. What's a sorting layer? Is that different? No. Okay. So now on the race car, we're going to select all the children and set the layer to checkpoint. Yes, change children, and also set the tag to checkpoint, just because they are. Might be useful in the future to have that. And now, it should still work. Okay, yeah. So another thing that didn't save was the car thing. The beam is still set to nothing. So we want everything but the cars and the checkpoints. So that actually fixes my other problem that where I was turning the laser beam red. It doesn't. We don't actually have to do that at all. Turns out you can just do it this way, which is smarter probably. Glad I figured that out. It still says checkpoint. I know I didn't do that. I'll fix it though. Um where's the text? Text. Or canvas text. Okay. It says checkpoint. Why is it not showing up? They tried to make it say checkpoint. Let's change the font size to 30. Okay. Um I guess we're just getting cut off for some reason. How can I do that for all of them though? Alright, we get one checkpoint. The rest are still checkpoints. I'll hide them. I fixed it for that one. But I guess I could just copy and paste it. Copy, paste, I think. Oh, no, no, no. Um, isn't there like a prefab for these? There isn't. I mean, it wasn't that hard to fix. We could just go through and fix them. 30. 30. 30. And 30. Now they should all be checkpoints. All right. So now what I wanted to do next was give these walls, well, let's make sure everything works again because I just had to redo that stuff a little bit. Yeah, so now the beams are pointing through stuff. This one is still not right, but that's fine. Because this one is. This one's turning things yellow. The other one still has the stuff set to everything, but that car is actually kind of useless. Let's delete him, actually. He's gone. We could recenter this guy. Alright. So this guy's our main car now. I just had the other one in there for testing. Alright, so these beams are working. And now there's another car. And another. I don't know why that happened, actually. I don't know why that third car showed up. Interesting. They could drive right through each other. And if I keep driving straight, this is just gonna keep producing more and more cars. Yep. And it's gonna break my stuff. That's funny. Yeah, so a lot of funny things happen when you're programming and you don't like mean to do something. Especially when you start replicating things and stuff, or trying to change how something looks. Um, okay. So we want to make these walls walls. So they have the tag of wall. So now in our car script, we're going to need to self-destruct. So we have the car script, and on update, if I'm just gonna put a comment here because I don't know. If we hit wall self-destruct. Okay. So how do we do this? We have to figure out what we hit first. So on collision enter. Oh, I think you actually put this under update. I think. Maybe not. Let's look this up. Yeah, you put up a low start. So on collision enter collision collision. That's how you use this. Okay. So we're gonna look for the so what we're trying to do is we're gonna look for the tag of this collision. So when we collide with something, we get this collision object. And what it is it's the object that you collided with. So this is going to have a bunch of information about whatever you collide with. And what we're going to try to do is get the tag out of it. And I'm not exactly sure how to do that. So let's debug it. So debug dot log. You always debug things if you don't know how they work. Collision dot tag. Does that work? If that works, that's all we need. And then we could use that. If that doesn't work, we're gonna have to Google. Oh, I forgot these guys were learning the whole time. Look at how fast they got. And look at how much they're fighting over food. It's cool to watch. It'd be cool to put this in like one of those picture frames, the like smart picture frames that has a little screen in it. Just have this running and then like restarting randomly. But make it look a little nicer. Like maybe move these trees around all over the place. And just because I would stare at something like this for a while. Especially if it was more complicated, which is what we're going to be making. That could be a cool project. Make a physical thing that cycles through all of these different AIs and just trains them on like a shelf over there. That could be cool. Um, well, we could get information about this collision object. Collision contains information. Dot game objects. Okay, so we need to do collision dot game object dot tag. I already know that this isn't going to work then. What we were planning on doing. Oh, this is the wrong one. I didn't mean to pause you. So in here, this is going to say bad. We must have a return type. Why? In car 34? Car and 34. Do you need to return something from? Oh, I have to say void. If you don't want to return something from a function, you have to say void. Um, so we're gonna say if collision dot game object dot tag equals wall. So if we collide with a wall, then we're going to self-destruct. So I think that there is a destroy game object, which I just saw in one of these examples, but we're not going to want to destroy what they did. Yeah, so in this, where'd the collider thing go? I lost it. Oh, it's probably behind this, yeah. Okay. Destroy game object. Okay, so you just do that. But when they say destroy game object, I think that they are destroying a game object. We want to destroy this dot game object, I think. Or is it just this? So if we destroy this, it's talking about us. So destroy me is what it says. Let's see if that works. Didn't work. Didn't work at all. Okay. What's going on here? We got a wall. Got another wall. When we collide with that thing, let's make sure that we get a collision that happens. Where I always forget what VS Code looks like. I just want to print this out. So debug dot log you hit a blank, and then we're going to add in this game object dot tag. So it should say you hit a wall when you hit a wall. If that doesn't happen, this doesn't work how I think it works. We are printing out a lot of stuff though. What's that one warning? Okay, we gotta fix some of these bugs so they just don't get in our way in the future. It's this camera follow thing, which is what we need, because we need it to follow this. Is it this one? If I delete that, does that fix it? No. It says you hit a untagged. Okay, but maybe it's going to say wall. Alright, let's restart this real quick. I wasn't actually looking at the bottom of the printouts. We're printing out too much stuff right now. I gotta clean that up. You hit a wall. Okay, so that works how I think it works. Maybe just the destruction of it didn't work. You hit a wall. Debug dot log. You will now die. I just want to see if this is actually happening. That if statement. Let's see. So we hit a wall. This time it didn't say it at all. Or did it? Maybe it... Does it say it anywhere that you hit a wall anymore? No. Did it for a second. I saw it. I saw it for sure. Let's get rid of whatever it's printing out, though. What is it? It's in the raycast. We're printing out things. Yeah, let's get rid of any debug.log. So if we see the word, whoops, debug.log, let's comment that one out. Comment that one out. Is that it? Let me make sure. Yeah, okay. So now if we hit this wall, it shouldn't be as cluttered. It's still not working. So what's it yelling at me about this camera thing for? Object reference not set to an instance of an object, but it is. inside of our, where's the other camera? I thought there was another camera. Main camera 1. We have the camera follow script. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. This. We have a problem with. It's working. This? Is this it? Maybe that's it. Let's just make these all car. Well, it's car 2. Oh, okay. Let's change the targets. I don't have to do that. I can change this. Targets to. Where did that go? Camera 1. Targets that we have. We only have one target in this case. But later on that will come in handy, that the fact that this has a targets list. Let's see. No more errors? No, still errors. Alright. We'll deal with that later. Which one? What object is it talking about? Maybe it's this text thing, the speedometer. We could give it the speedometer that it had in the demo. Does it have a speedometer object? There should be a speedometer. Let's take this speedometer, copy it, and let's put it in our game and see if it just works. Is that what the layout's going to be? No. Maybe. This is what the cars that I got came, like these cars, they came with this map and these checkpoints, so that's where I got everything from. I just moved it around, used it for our purposes, and I made these walls. I made rectangles. That's all I made. That is my 3D modeling limit. I could make rectangles. That's why, if you didn't notice, my last game only rectangles. Even the little guys, little squares. And I didn't even make them. But yeah, so let's take the speedometer. That's what I was doing. We're gonna put it in our scene, sample scene. Oh wait, I could just cancel and go back. All right, yeah. So I could paste this, I think, in here. Speedometer. And then if I give this speedometer to the camera, I guess. I don't know why I would give the speedometer to the camera. But we will. Just so it stops giving us errors. I think that might be what's giving us the errors. Let's see. No, it's still the... Alright, I give up. Errors are gone. We have no errors. Alright, so it's saying we hit the untagged. A bunch of rectangles. Yeah, it is. So when it says we hit something just now, it means we hit the floor. The floor is untagged, so it's... But it counts that as a collision, even when you just start. But if we hit this wall, you hit a wall, you will now die. Okay. So that works. Everything's working. So I think that this this car script, so you will now die, destroy this. Maybe it has to be this.game object. This.game object. I don't think it has to do that, but maybe it does. So let's restart that. Let's try crashing the wall one more time. Okay, he died. Bye-bye, little guy. Yeah, so now if they hit the walls, that is bad for them. And they won't make it till the end. Um, so in the beginning, we just see which cars get the furthest without dying, and that's like how we reward them. We don't even have to have a timer. This guy's in the ground. That's probably why it says so many you hit a walls. Let's just do it once now. Oh, I didn't even do it at all. Boom. Okay. So now our cars die when they hit a wall, but they still work the same, I believe. So we could drive them through all the checkpoints, and the goal now is to just not hit a wall. So if we let's look at both at the same time. We'll drive this guy, and he should reproduce here. Yep. And if these guys hit walls, they all die too. Nice. But we don't care about them. We're just going to keep driving. Let's see if we can drift. Oh, that's boost, not drift. That's drift. It's super hard to control. If the AI figures out how to drift in any usable way, I will be very surprised. But it might figure out boost. Could actually be useful for parts like that where it's super straight. We might have to make the laser beams even longer, though, for that to work. Because if it can't see the laser beams... Did they stop reproducing? Did I miss a checkpoint? Why'd they stop spawning? I'm confused. Oh, well, I died anyways. Forgot that the goal was not to hit the walls. It's probably something to do with when the lap repeats, it doesn't reproduce anymore. Okay. Um, it looks so good. Thanks. It's getting there. It's getting there. We need to do anything else. So if they hit the wall, they die. Done. I like how I'm like actually doing the tasks that I write down. Because I just write these down like a bunch just as I'm thinking of them, and it's cool to just check them all off. So we're gonna tally up the scores after a set period of time and restart the race. That sounds slightly complicated. Hmm. So what we're gonna have to do, I see what we have to do. I see. Instead of the cars keeping their scores on them, which is happening right now, like each car is holding on to their score and they're keeping track of it. They're holding it nice in their hands, but when the car dies, their score disappears. They die too. But we want to save their score at the end so we know which ones did the best. So even if the one that was the fastest made it the furthest, it dies at the end, we won't know what its score was. So we need to save the score somewhere else besides on the car. Or when, yeah, I was going to say, or when the car dies, we save it somewhere else, but then that's just extra steps. Instead, we just want to make something else be in charge of keeping track of the scores. And usually what I do, which I am not sure if this is best practices, it definitely isn't. I don't know what object should keep track of it. Usually I just make the floor keep track of things. So the map actually keeps track of the score and stuff like that. But I like what they did. They actually put some information on the camera, but it's the camera follow script. I don't know if I want to put stuff there. I don't. I will just put. Oh, wait a minute. Why does that camera follow script not have speedometer? Is that why it was still giving me the errors? because I did it while it was playing. Let's try that now. No errors. The little stop sign's not freaking out. Okay, so that was it. That was why I was angry. Is the speedometer actually working though? I don't think so. Well, it says started recording for Ghost Car. It didn't say that before. In the real thing, we're gonna want it to die. The cars to die when they hit those two, because they shouldn't. I didn't want to boost. I wanted to drift. I keep forgetting which button does what. Oh, I almost hit that wall. That was crazy close. I forgot. I keep forgetting that the walls kill you. And I was inches away from that wall. Yeah, so for some reason now, after you go through the track once, these checkpoints don't work anymore. Let's see if the wall still breaks us. Yep. Um, one thing that could be cool to do later on is some camera controls. So if a car dies and the camera's on it, it switches to another car. Something we could do. Um, so let's figure out. Let's just make the floor keep track of the score for now. Let's rename this the floor. Rename floor or ground. Yeah, ground. It's usually what I call it. Good thing I did that because so rename ground. Find that work. Okay. Cool. So on our ground, I usually like to put some scripts that like keep track of everything. You could usually do this on a UI canvas. Maybe that's better if we had a UI thing. I don't know how to do that though. Um, let's add an element. Let's try to add a canvas. UI canvas? Is that what you do? I don't know if I want to do this. Um, I think you do yeah, you do a canvas and then you add text. So if I have this text on the canvas, does it show up? Oh, it shows up there. Okay. Yeah, so the canvas is maybe a good place to put information. I've never done this before, but we can. All right. Um, so on the canvas, let's create a new script over here. New script, score keeper, scorekeeper. And in this script, we're going to have an array that keeps track of all of the scores. Um, public scores, array, public. Oh no, that's not how you do it. Public double array scores. So now that should be a public thing that we see here. After that updates, we'll go to canvas, scores. There are 0 scores in this list. And you can just add scores to the list. So for every car, we're going to want a new score. And in the end, I think I'm going to have a set number of cars spawn every time. So 100 or so. If that's too many, we'll lower that. If it's too graphic intensive, as you can see when like millions of cars spawn, it gets a little tricky. But I will say that let's make this. Can you give it a length before you even start? So if I say 10, no. Does that work? It's a bunch of errors. So you don't do that double thing. How do you set the length before you do it? It's just like that? No. This is the bad way to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That was a good guess. So now that should work. It's not a good way to do it. Invalid expression. Still doesn't like that. Let's look up how to use arrays in C#. I mean, yeah, how to use arrays in Unity, I'll say. Or
Arrays are
I don't want a video. Oh, I just had to say new double. I was right. I was right. I was right. And you just say 10 or so. But we're not, oh yeah, we are doubles. So let's see if this works. That's pretty cool. Cool. So now if we go over here to our canvas I put it on, we're going to see these scores. And when I press run, scores stays empty. Hmm. Is that not working the way I think it is? One warning. Okay, warnings are fine. I think. Yeah, it's not our warning. Um, looking better with no lag. Yeah, you think so? I think it's just because I'm not doing as much. Maybe. I'll figure that out tomorrow. Um, so for the scores, can I just keep adding items to this array? Adds values to the end of the array. Okay, yeah, I'll just do that. So we need to add and keep track of when what index something was added at. Hmm. So for all right, I'm not thinking out loud. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out how to get all the cars to be looped over. I want to look at every single car, get its score, and add it to this list. Look at another car, get its score, add it to the list, and do that for every car. So I have to loop over all the cars in the game and grab their score and somehow say, I already looked at you. So how to loop over every object in a game. How to loop over objects in Unity with tags. Okay, find objects with tag car. Object count, is that sick? I don't know why we need the object count. So this will work. Um, except we don't use vars, I don't think. Do we? The only thing is, this happens. Oh yeah, we want this to happen every second. It will be very intensive, so maybe we shouldn't do this where we're doing it. So we're gonna say for each object in objects. Obj dot. How did we get the score before? Did I ever get the score? Yeah, in checkpoint events, we got the score. Or in checkpoints. Car dot score. Could I just do that? So what is car? Car was created here. Slider other dot get component and parent car. Okay, so I have to do this. Get component and parent. Yeah, let's do this whole thing. We need to do that same thing in our scorekeeper. Object, except instead of car, we need to say, yeah, get object in parent, object. That works. Even though these are called objects, it's looping over all the cars, so you might want to change that just for clarity. But let's see if that works. Um, debug.log um, debug.log scores car.score. See if this is working at least. Expected semicolon, where line 22, 20, the one I just put. Okay, object is variable but is used like a type. Yeah, I don't know if this for objects thing works in C. Is this JavaScript? Answer is now in JavaScript. I think this is. Oh, is it actually? Oh no, 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 no. Game objects. Does that work? Is there even a for each loop in C sharp? We'll see. It still isn't like that. Let's find a different answer. That is C sharp. It's the same question. C sharp. No want var. No var. I always accept cookies, but it always asks me. I guess a lot of people program in C sharp. I mean, in JavaScript. I would do that. JavaScript's pretty cool. Okay, so it's game object array, and this is C sharp, right? For game object respawn in response, and that works. Oh, car. I'm dumb. This right here, OBJ. Yeah, it's supposed instead of other, it's supposed to be that. Thank you. So now it should print out our score. Blah is not defined. I did not want a blah. Oh, car. Okay, object reference not set to instance of an object. Scorekeeper.update. Line 22. 22. R.score. So this isn't even an object, it says. Why not? What's our car made of? Car. It is a car. Does our car not have a score yet until it goes through a checkpoint? No. That's not the problem. Okay. Hmm. Oh man, it is late. Probably get off soon. So I'm over the 2 hour mark and I started late. So maybe we could finish up this little task if it's quick, and then head off after that. Let's see. Tally up scores. That's what we're trying to do. Tally up the scores. So for some reason this isn't working. Oh, get component in parent. I don't want to get the component in the parent. Our parent is us. Is the canvas. No, no, no. The object is the parent. What's get component in parent do? Let's debug.log. The length. Oh wait, no, I just wanted to say object count. We're going to do that. Oh, do I have to put parentheses after that? Maybe. Let's do this as the bottom. Line 19. Expected something. Yep. Those will always get me. Why is it not like that much? I don't get it. Oh, it's printing out the score. No way. Why is it saying 27? What's our car's score? Score is 0. 0, dude. Oh, the length. What? Oh, no. Every single one of these is a car. Everything in here is a car. But they don't have to be. So let's select all the children. Select children, unselect you. Oh, how do you do that? Okay, so here we're gonna select all the children, unselect the main one, and then make these untagged except for the top car. I don't think that'll break anything else. So now let's restart this. Oh no, damn it. I'll restart it now, it's gonna, yeah. Let's make these all untagged now. And restart it. That should just say 1. There's only 1 car. 2. 2 cars. Is there still 2 cars? What's this car? Oh, it's the little cube. Okay. That technically is true. We can untag him too. Let's just not confuse things. Untag this car. So it's not a car anymore. And then our car, our actual car. Now we should only have 1 car in the list. 1 0 1 0. Why is it getting 0 sometimes? Oh, 0. That's the score. Nice. So when we go through the second checkpoint, it's 1, then it's 2. Well, so now it's printing out the number of cars there are. I think. Oh, it's printing out the score more often. Let's try to find. So 15. Yeah, there's 15 cars. 25. Oh yeah, they're not dying. So there is a bunch of cars. Cool. Nice. Um, very nice. So what we do now, for every car in the map, when we loop over it, we want to give it an ID, I guess, the first time we do it. Maybe. Hmm. I'm stuck at a little predicament in my mind where I'm wondering if when we do this find game objects thing, when we're looking for all the cars, it makes a list of all the cars for us. But does it make the list in the same order every time? So I'm trying to figure out which score belongs to which car. So we're going to need some sort of ID to identify which car is which. Um, to do that, we we could create all the cars in a loop. So if we want to start with a certain number of cars every time, if we know we're not going to reproduce this way, the way we're doing it right now, we just create all the cars in a loop and give them an ID as they're created. And then we use that ID from then on to keep track of which car gets which score. So I'm not going to do that today, but it is useful to keep track of. So um, this is part of the reproduction because we want to keep track of the score still. Well, this is part of the scores actually. Give cars an ID so we know which score belongs to each car. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of random numbers that aren't associated with each car. So whichever car does the best, we won't know. We'll just know that the score exists right now. But if we give them an ID, we could say, "Oh, car 5 was the fastest and went the furthest, so he wins." That's what we need to figure out. But yeah, we got another big chunk of the stuff done today. You know what I should do? I should color code things per stream. So today we got this done, this done. Um, we did some more checkpoint stuff. Oh no, we didn't do more checkpoint stuff. We did a lot more raycasting. We did these two. Very nice. So we, so yeah, we still have to decide what makes them reproduce. Because right now they're just reproducing as they go through checkpoints, which we're not going to do in the end. So that should be what we tackle first tomorrow, I think, is changing that system so into a wave-based system instead. I like that idea. All right. So first thing tomorrow is yeah, let's add that as a note. Note. Make a wave-based system. It's not a to do, that's just to remind me what I want to start with tomorrow. Alrighty. We got a lot done today, again. This project is coming along rather quickly. At this pace, it's only been 3 days. We have the car, we have the beams, we almost have the reproduction down. And once we get the scores, we can move into the actual neural network itself. Then we get the inputs and the outputs to the network. And at that point, once we get the network set up, it's smooth sailing from there. We just train these guys and maybe make the game look a little better and make the map a little bit more complicated so they have something cool to learn. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. I've been enjoying doing these daily 2-hour streams. Not getting burnt out too much because it's only 2 hours. And it's been making me make consistent progress, which I like. So thanks for watching.